You are being lied to by a false binary. Marcus Romano discovered this truth at 3:17 a.m. in a boardroom on the 42nd floor of the Meridian Tower. The acquisition meeting that would determine his company's fate was 6 hours away, and he sat alone, studying two books that had shaped his understanding of power, Marcus Aurelius's Meditations and Machiavelli's The Prince. For years, Marcus had tried to navigate the corporate world with Stoic principles. Accept what you cannot control. Focus on your own virtue. Let your character speak for itself. It had made him a respected middle manager, and nothing more. While colleagues who played dirty politics climbed the ladder, Marcus remained ethical, honest, and professionally stagnant. So, the good guys finished last. His mentor had warned him once, but at least they sleep well. That was before Marcus learned that sleeping well was a luxury he couldn't afford. The hostile takeover attempt by Blackstone Capital had changed everything. Led by Vincent Cross, a man who embodied pure Machiavellian ruthlessness, Blackstone was systematically dismantling Marcus's company through legal warfare, media manipulation, and strategic betrayals. Cross had turned 3 board members, planted false stories about financial irregularities, and was now positioned to acquire the company for 20 cents on the dollar. Marcus had tried the Stoic approach: remain calm, trust in justice, let virtue prevail. The result? His employees were about to lose their jobs, and his life's work would be sold to a corporate predator. That's when he discovered the fatal flaw in both philosophies. Stoicism without power was just sophisticated submission. It created peaceful slaves, not effective leaders. But Machiavellianism without internal control was self-destruction, a fire that inevitably consumed the arsonist. Cross himself was proof of this: paranoid, isolated, trusting no one, living in a cage of his own making. Most people spent their lives oscillating between these extremes. Try to be good, get exploited. Try to be ruthless, get consumed by guilt. Fail at both. But what if they weren't opposing philosophies? What if they were two halves of a single weapon? Marcus opened his laptop and began typing. Not a resignation letter or a plea for mercy, but a battle plan. For the first time in his career, he would synthesize the internal fortress of Marcus Aurelius with the strategic mind of Machiavelli. The morning meeting would determine whether Cross's ruthlessness could defeat a new kind of opponent. Someone who could operate with the calculated precision of a prince while maintaining the unshakable center of a sage. The world is not divided into saints and sinners, Marcus wrote in his notes. It is divided into those who understand power and those who are destroyed by it. He closed the books and walked to the window. The city spread below him like a chessboard, each light representing someone's life, someone's ambition, someone's weakness to be exploited or strength to be allied with. Tomorrow, Vincent Cross would learn that there was something more dangerous than a ruthless predator, a guardian who had learned to think like the predator, but fight like a protector. Marcus felt the anger rising, anger at the injustice, the betrayals, the systematic destruction of everything he had built. Then he applied the Stoic discipline. Acknowledge the emotion, examine it, transform it into fuel. "Oh, when you wake up in the morning," Marcus quoted Marcus Aurelius aloud, "tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." But unlike the philosopher-emperor writing in his tent, Marcus wouldn't just endure these people, he would outmaneuver them. The synthesis had begun. The Meridian Tower boardroom at 9 a.m. looked like a battlefield disguised as a business meeting. Vincent Cross sat at the head of the table, flanked by his legal team and the 3 board members he had turned. His reputation preceded him. A corporate raider who had destroyed 17 companies in 12 years, always walking away richer while leaving devastation in his wake. Marcus entered exactly 3 minutes late. Not early enough to seem eager, not late enough to appear disrespectful. Pure calculation. He carried no visible notes, no briefcase full of defensive documents. His face revealed nothing. "Gentlemen," Cross began, his voice carrying the confidence of a man accustomed to victory, "let's not waste time on pleasantries. The numbers are clear. Romano Industries is hemorrhaging money, your market share is declining, and your recent product launches have been failures. We're offering a generous exit strategy." The corrupted board members nodded in agreement. James Patterson, whom Marcus had considered a friend for 8 years, wouldn't meet his eyes. "Vincent," Marcus replied, his voice steady as granite, "I appreciate your enthusiasm, but I think you're operating on incomplete information." Cross's eyes narrowed. He had expected anger, desperation, perhaps a passionate speech about company values. He hadn't expected this calm confidence. What information would that be? Marcus activated the room's display screen with his phone. Financial projections appeared, not the doctored reports Cross had been working with, but the real numbers. The numbers showed Romano Industries was not dying. It was deliberately appearing weak. "For the past 6 months, while you've been positioning for this takeover, we've been implementing what I call the wounded animal strategy. We moved our most profitable divisions offshore, we delayed product announcements, and we created the appearance of vulnerability." Cross's confidence flickered for the first time. That's financial manipulation." "No," Marcus smiled, applying the law of asymmetry perfectly, revealing just enough to destabilize his opponent while keeping his true strategy hidden. "That's chess." The next slide showed patent acquisitions. While Cross had been focused on the hostile takeover, Marcus had quietly purchased 3 crucial patents that would make Cross's own technology divisions obsolete within 18 months. "You see, Vincent, you made the same mistake that most predators make. You assumed your prey was helpless." Cross's face reddened, his Machiavellian mask slipping to reveal the emotional volatility underneath. "You manipulative bastard!" Now, Marcus interrupted, his voice carrying the kind of dangerous calm that made everyone in the room unconsciously lean back. "Let's remain professional." This was the moment Marcus had spent months preparing for, applying the premeditation of treachery. He had visualized every possible move Cross might make, every betrayal, every dirty trick. When Patterson had first approached him with Cross's generous unoffer to sell his shares, Marcus had known exactly where this was leading. "James," Marcus turned to his former friend, "show them the documents." Patterson's face went white. He reached into his briefcase with trembling hands and produced a thick folder. "What is this?" Cross demanded. "James's confession," Marcus replied. "Complete documentation of the bribes you offered, the threats you made, and the federal securities violations you committed in your attempts to manipulate our stock price." The room erupted. Cross's lawyers were frantically whispering, the corrupted board members were calculating their exposure, and Patterson was staring at the table in defeat. But Marcus remained perfectly calm. The stoic discipline held firm. He felt no joy in Patterson's destruction, no anger at Cross's betrayal, no fear of the consequences. He had metabolized the chaos, transformed the energy of their attack into fuel for his counterattack. "Here's what's going to happen," Marcus continued. "Vincent, you're going to withdraw your takeover bid. You're going to publicly apologize for the disruption to our employees and shareholders. And you're going to ensure that certain regulatory agencies receive full disclosure of your methodologies. And if I refuse..." Marcus's expression didn't change, but something shifted in his eyes, something that made Cross unconsciously reach for his water glass. "Then tomorrow morning, every major financial publication will receive a very detailed investigation into Blackstone Capital's practices. Your other deals will be scrutinized. Your investors will ask uncomfortable questions. Your reputation will become problematic." This was aggressive amor fati in action. Marcus had not just endured the assault on his company, he had used it. Cross's attack had provided the perfect opportunity to document his methods, to build an unassailable case, and to position Romano Industries as the victim of corporate predation, generating enormous public sympathy and regulatory support. The silence in the boardroom was deafening. Cross stared at Marcus as if seeing him for the first time. Not the mild-mannered middle manager he had planned to crush, but something far more dangerous. A guardian who had learned to think like a predator. "You planned this from the beginning," Cross whispered, his voice carrying a mixture of admiration and horror. "No," Marcus replied with perfect honesty. "I planned for this from the beginning. There's a difference." The distinction was crucial. Marcus hadn't orchestrated Cross's attack. He had simply prepared for the inevitable betrayal, applied the premeditation of treachery, and built his defenses accordingly. When the assault came, he was ready. Cross's shoulders sagged in defeat. "What do you want?" "I want you to remember this moment," Marcos said, standing slowly. "But I want you to understand that there are people in this world who cannot be bullied, manipulated, or destroyed by conventional means. We don't advertise our capabilities. We don't threaten or boast. We simply prepare." The meeting concluded with Cross's complete capitulation. The takeover was withdrawn, the corrupted board members resigned in disgrace, and Romano Industries emerged stronger than ever. Marcus had won decisively without firing a single employee, without destroying any innocent parties, without compromising his core values. But that night, alone in his office, Marcus faced the most dangerous moment of his victory, the temptation of hubris. The power was intoxicating. He had seen through the facades, manipulated the variables, controlled the outcome. He had been the god in the machine, the puppeteer pulling strings while others danced unknowingly to his choreography. For a moment, just a moment, he understood why men like Cross became monsters. The ability to see 3 moves ahead, to predict human behavior, to shape reality according to your will. It was addictive. This was where the Stoicism had to save him from the Machiavellianism. Marcus opened his laptop and began typing, not a victory celebration, but a confession to himself. "Today I won. But winning is temporary. The empire will fall. The money will rot. The reputation will fade. I played not just to win, but because participation is the tribute we pay to existence." He thought of Marcus Aurelius, who didn't want to be emperor but accepted the burden anyway, who could have been a tyrant but chose to be a servant, who held absolute power over the known world but remained, fundamentally, a philosopher seeking truth. The synthesis demanded this constant vigilance, watching your own mind as closely as you watched your enemies. The moment you believed you were the god you were imitating, you became just another Vincent Cross. 3 months later, Marcus received an unexpected phone call. A small technology company was being targeted by a corporate raider, someone even more ruthless than Cross, using newer methods, threatening to destroy an innovation that could benefit millions. "Mr. Romano," the CEO pleaded, "we've heard about what you did to Blackstone. We need help." Marcus could have said no. His own company was secure now. He had won his war. But he understood something that Cross never would. True power wasn't about conquest. It was about guardianship. The synthesis of Stoic virtue and Machiavellian strategy wasn't a tool for domination. It was a weapon for protection. "I'll review your situation," Marcus replied. "If your cause is just, you'll have my support." Because the world was full of monsters, real ones, people who used these dark tactics with zero conscience. If good people were too weak to hold the sword, the wicked would rule by default. Marcus had learned to become the monster so he could kill the monsters. That evening, he walked through his company's offices, observing the employees who had no idea how close they had come to losing everything. They trusted him to protect them, to make the hard decisions, to be strong enough to face the Vincent crosses of the world. You must be cold enough to see the truth, Marcus wrote in his journal that night. You must be hard enough to endure the blow, and you must be smart enough to strike back. But you must never forget that the ultimate purpose of power is not to have it, but to protect those who cannot protect themselves. The synthesis was complete. Marcus Romano had become something new. Not a saint in a cell, not a king in a cage of paranoia, but a guardian who understood both the necessity of virtue and the reality of power, the outlier who chose neither philosophy alone, but both together. The world was reacting to him now, instead of him reacting to the world, and that made all the difference.